These are the easiest attack strategies for every Town Hall level. We'll break down each army to help you 3-star without much issue no matter the base. To kick things off at Town Hall 12, we have the Zap Witches, which is still particularly easy and powerful since all it is just witch spam similar to Town Hall 11, but with the lightning spells and earthquake. Otherwise, what we're going to start off with is with the golems, the bowlers, and the witches, and we're just going to funnel them on one side of the base. This is going to allow you to get everything in along with the log launcher and your heroes before using your earthquake spells and 4 lightning on each inferno. This is going to allow you to easily remove them, and then that leaves just the Eagle Artillery, the 3rd Inferno, and the Town Hall. So while your heroes are working in with the log launcher and any bowlers and witches if possible, you've got a very nice push and a nice lane to get all 3 of those down. You can also run totem spells here, as you can use them to distract defenses, especially ones out of range, and keep your witches and bowlers alive. You can use the Eternal Tome in order to protect everything, and as you work into the core, you can use the Barbarian's Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots to do tons of damage and open up the base further. This overall should allow you to have so much tanking both inside and outside the base to keep your witches and your bowlers alive while having most of your heroes alive as they work through the rest of the base. This should overall be a very consistent strategy for you since the witches and bowlers, the Bow Witch, is still a very powerful combination. And when you have the Meteor Golem from the log launcher, this should very easily 3-star for you without any issues. Moving to Town Hall 13, we have the Yeti Witch Attack. If you're a fan of witch spam, then this is another version that you can use. We're going to mainly start this off by just spamming in your Yetis and witches in order to both create a bit of funneling and also to make sure your heroes get into the base. None of these troops really need to follow your main hero push. You just need to make sure that most of them are staying alive for the most part. This way, what you're able to do is open up the base with the log launcher, using the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome to protect the log launcher and any of your heroes, while also using the Barbarian King's Earthquake Boots and Spiky Ball to open up the base and do tons of damage. As you work into the core, you can use a Rage spell and the Archer Queen's abilities in order to get even more defenses down with the Royal Champion on the back end. Otherwise, you can then really start setting in your bat spells once you've cleared a good chunk of the base. This allows you to use totem spells over things or against things like the wizard towers and the scatter shots, but free spells are gonna be the best for you in order to prevent too much damage. You just want to make sure that you are using them and timing them fairly effectively. You can still freeze other defenses as well around it, but you just need to make sure that the splash damage defenses aren't targeting your bats, and for the most part, as long as a good chunk of the bats are alive and there's not any high HP buildings, you should be able to easily 3-star. Now in Town Hall 14, we have the Mass Dragon, which is very powerful since you have the Royal Champion and the Archer Queen funneling your main push right the way through. You do want to make sure that you are starting off with the giant arrow of the Archer Queen to snipe down any air defenses and sweepers while creating funneling on one side. On the other side, you're using the Rocket Spear from the Royal Champion and the Electro Boots to clear any trash buildings and defenses to create another side of your funnel. This then gives you your dragons, balloons, dragon riders, and the minion prince a way to start moving into the base. This Hydra attack is a very powerful one since this realistically doesn't need a massive starter to do well. As you start to push in, you can use the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome to protect all of your troops as they enter the core. Any spells like rage spells are perfect in order to power up your dragons and dragon riders further while using the minion prince ability to slow down defenses, especially something like the Town Hall or multi-target Inferno. You can use rage spells here to continue the power, but also you've got free spells that you can use to minimize damage and hopefully clear them before they become unfrozen. This is best used on air defenses or even the Town Hall if they are still up. This overall though should keep more than enough dragons alive to easily 3-star. Moving up to Town Hall 15, we have dragons, but using the quad clone with the Super Yeti. This is very powerful Since Super Yeti clone is incredibly easy and a lot of town halls necessarily want to go down to avoid the town hall poison, you obviously want to make sure that you're starting off by setting up funneling. The Archer Queen in this case will use her giant arrow to snipe down any air defenses or sweepers, but namely to also activate any invisibility towers. This allows us to clear out some other defenses and enemy heroes from up there, while the Royal Champion is setting up the other side of the funnel with, again, the Electro Boots and the Rocket Spear. This allows us to send in our Hydra, the Dragons and Dragon Riders, with the Minion Prince and the Grand Warden. As they continue to work a little bit deeper into the base, we can use the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome to protect the Blimp and the troops as they work in. This allows us to slow down defenses with the Minion Prince before then using the Super Yeti and the clone spells in order to clone throughout different buildings and get tons of value. As we continue to work in a little bit deeper into the base, you won't really have any other spells, but having things like the Minion Prince's ability like the Meteor Staff does help, as it's free damage even while he's frozen or just distracted by something else, and the dragon should very easily be able to swarm all the rest of the defenses and very easily crumble the base like it's nothing, since quad clone dragon attacks are fairly easy to use. Now moving on up to Town Hall 16, we have the Super Yeti Mass Revive. This is a very powerful attack, especially when you use revive spells with the Dragon Duke. Here at Town Hall 16, you have a lot more power with the Dragon Duke thanks to the Stun Blaster and the Angry Jelly being unlocked at this level. This allows you to very easily get him to funnel a side completely just by himself. This way you can use a Super Yeti behind in order to funnel the outside. Over with the Royal Champion, you got her Electric Boots and Rocket Spear to cut off the other side of your funnel. The Dragon Duke as well can use the Stun Blaster in order to minimize damage and get additional value before he falls. This then allows you to send in your Super Yetis with the Grand Warden and your Royal Champion, followed with the Log Launcher to open the walls. You can use an Earthquake spell in order to maximize the damage to both buildings and walls in order to get through them quicker. Obviously, we also have Totem spells. This strategy is very powerful when you mix it with the Totem spells to protect a lot of your Super Yetis. You can even use the Eternal Tome or the Healing Tome with the Rage Gem in order to keep a lot of your Super Yetis alive and also keep your troops raged up thanks to the Rage Gem with the healers. Otherwise, as you are working through, you can revive your Dragon Duke in order to get him to continue to move around and get plenty of value from his Tantrum ability, while still using Totem spells throughout the base in order to minimize damage against different defenses and to keep a lot of your Super Yetis alive. You can revive other heroes like the Royal Champion to get additional value off the base, but anytime the Dragon Duke falls, you always want to use a revive spell on him. Especially if you have a max level revive, you should be able to get nearly 100% HP back on him, and really it's just super powerful. For the most part, you should be able to keep a lot of your Super Yetis alive as you work around, and with the Dragon Duke, you should be able to get plenty of the base down in order to keep all of those troops alive for a very easy 3-star. Moving on up to Town Hall 17, we have the Meteor Golem spam. Meteor Golems are not dead, and they are still a very powerful unit despite their nerfs. Obviously, we're going to be setting up funneling, so the Royal Champion will be used on one side with her Electro Boots and Rocket Spear, while the Dragon Duke is used on the other side with his Stun Blaster and Fireheart. This should allow you to very easily create two sides of your funnel, where you've got Meteor Golems on the outside to clear out trash buildings, while using the Stun Blaster equipment to allow your Dragon Duke to get additional value from his funneling before he falls. This allows us to then use our Earthquake spells in order to open the walls a little bit quicker while doing damage to defenses a little bit more, while we have the Meteor Golems working in with the Grand Warden and the Archer Queen. This is going to be a really nice push as you work into the core, where you can very easily use the Healing Tome from the Grand Warden in order to keep a lot of your Meteor Golems healed up, since they are fairly tanky. Having things like Tome spells to minimize damage also helps with this, but you also have an overgrowth that you can use over on the back end in order to make sure that you are minimizing the amount of damage that Meteor Golems take early on. This way you have the revive spells that you can use with the Dragon Duke, so that way he's able to continue to create funneling while clearing out defenses. Any tome spells that you can also use for him, but namely for the Meteor Golems to get a lot of damage off their backs. And you should be able to very easily and comfortably move through the base like it's nothing. Meteor Golems are very strong with their HP and damage, especially after the nerf, still making them viable. And as long as you have at least 2 revive spells, you should be able to very easy and comfortably be able to clear bases with the Dragon Duke and the Meteor Golems. And of course at Town Hall 18, we have none other than throwers and totem spells. This is a very easy, albeit fairly risky approach, as it's very strong, but can sometimes falter if you don't set up good funneling. In this base, we are taking on a lava launcher, something that has a 20 tile range. So we're going to use the Warden and the throwers on one corner. We're going to use the Archer Queen with the Ice Golems in order to make sure that she is setting up funneling with her abilities, with the action figure and the magic mirror to get additional value. The Royal Champion can also clear up a funnel with her Rocket Spear and Electro Boots in order to make sure that we're going in the right direction. This is where then we can use totem spells to distract defenses while the throwers are moving around, and we also have the log launcher to open the base up further. This is going to allow us to use the Dragon Duke from the topmost part in order to additionally clear out defenses and value as our throwers are working towards the core. Now, the lava launcher is going to be a fairly annoying defense, especially to any groups of troops that aren't being healed. But that burn damage isn't super difficult to deal with if there are no other defenses around. Otherwise, as you continue to work into the core, you just have tone spells in order to help distract plenty of defenses, except for the lava launcher, of course. And overall, as long as there's not too much fire on your defenses, that lava launcher isn't going to be much of an issue. You just need to make sure that as you're continuing to work in, you're using tome spells to minimize damage. Any revive spells you can use with the Dragon Duke, especially if you bring at least 2 or 3. This should allow you to get plenty of value while your throwers are easily just clearing out buildings like it's nothing underneath the Rage Gem. And the Life Gem is also providing a ton of benefits for them with the extra HP, especially for the healers as well, despite being one-shotted by things like Seeking Air Mines. Otherwise, as long as you are able to clear through most of the key defenses, then your throwers are going to very easily clear through the rest of the base, since there's not really anything that can hurt them at that point. Same for the Dragon Duke, you'll be able to easily clear through plenty of defenses once most of those key defenses go down and you've revived him more than enough to get him back to full HP. Each army showcase tier should allow you to easily 3-star and never truly time fail no matter the base. However, YouTube says this is the best video of mine if you wish to continue watching my content, so I'll see y'all later.